towards the Ashe, and we are into Champions Select for that second match. This time around, Vici will be on the blue side of Summoner's Rift. Gangplank, Talia, and LeBlanc are the three bands that come out from
Get
Vici.
it out of there.
Team WE, they know what's up. They know it's not endless anymore. We see you, Shen Champier. They get a Vladimir, Lysandra, and a Twitch band coming to this game. Vici do get the chance to pick up the Shen as their first pick.
That is very important. Long is an incredible Shen player. It was permabanned away from them in their previous series by Game Talents.
And in fact, even though these two teams, their top laners love to play Shen, it's commonly banned out against them, but they've only played, this will be the 5th game for Long this year, and it was the 3rd game for 957 that last match, so you can already see how much teams respect the tank Shen players coming out from Vici and Team WE. Team WE, though, they lock in a Jhin and an Alistar in their bottom lane.
And I think this rotation is so smart from Team WE. The Twitch is taken away. We know that Xuan P, he's not as comfortable on the Kog'Maw as someone like Endless is, so we're going to take the last standing hyper carry left on the board.
And that's going to be that Jhin being picked up for Mystic, a phenomenal Jhin player. Has only played it a couple of times, though, 4 times during the summer split of the LPL. But when he does pick it up, does do fairly well on the champion.
Of course, Coach Home on your stream right now, talking very intently between Easyhoon and Dandy. He's a Korean coach. He's been with Dandy for pretty much his entire career. Often regarded as one of the best coaches in the scene. Has the Samsung organization under his belt.
Well, let's see if he can help them out to a victory here in game number 2. They were definitely needed to try and fight back in this best-of-5 series. For now, though, they do lock in Gragas. That should be a Gragas heading into the jungle, but I've seen stranger things here today as Braum gets locked in as their supportive choice.
Back to comfort for Caveman, so not taking the Tahm Kench this time around.
We'll have to see what Team W decide to respond with. But once again, we're going much more towards, lots of tanky frontliners, lots of slow play, lots of reliance on late game and level 6 play. I think I've seen this story before, Frosco.
We're going to see it all series long, so just buckle up, fish fingers.
I've got my seatbelt ready. As Rek'Sai actually does get locked in for Condi here, and they will be playing Gnar up in the top lane for 957.
Okay, so 957 has just recently debuted the Gnar pick, not in the LPL, but in himself picking that up. We really hadn't seen it from him before, and he was excellent on it. Fits right in his wheelhouse, has so much control in front of him, really excels in team fights, and it just really empowers all around what 957 is good at. I love to see him on Gnar. I made the analogy that he reminds me of Koro from 2014 EDG days, which Koro was known for his Gnar, and 957, I think it's quickly going to become a staple.
That does mean that Team W hide their mid lane pick for last. LeBlanc was banned out against Sierra, which is one of his most signature picks in the LPL. Teams are devastated by that champion. As this time around, it's going to be Shen Champier that picks up the Ashe. Surprise, surprise, no Twitch. Go back to Ashe.
But this is the primary problem with Vici. Again, they rotate their AD carries every single game, but there's no difference in playstyle when they do this. Yes, they have the Kog'Maw, the Twitch, you just ban them straight out, but give them a chance. Let them play different champions. Let them create their own different styles. Pick up the Sivir. Go that direction.
I mean, take a look at their last 5 games against Game Talents. They had to pick up Ashe in the final match because no Twitch available. Kog'Maw was picked up by Endless in that match before. And when they played against Team WE last, they played Kog'Maw in the first game. Shen Champier came in. Twitch was gone, so they had to play Ashe again. It's the common champion that these two AD carries share.
Definitely agree, and it really just goes back to the playstyle and kind of the comfort and power point that Ashe is really in.
And Vici have done it again, Frosco, and they've gone for a fairly low damage team comp. Yes, Karma still does a lot of damage. Ashe, more utility based, but still can put up a lot of damage themselves. But they've got a Shen, they've got a Gragas, and they've got a Braum heading into this match against what is a powerhouse from Team WE.
Yeah, I was going to say on the other side, a lot of late game damage, big spikes. The one thing that Team WE's composition really lacks, though, is consistent wave clear. Jhin, not the greatest wave clear AD carry. Normally you see Kassadin being picked up in tandem with that Sivir. So if this composition ever falls behind, Team WE are in a whole world of hurt.
And it's Kassadin going up against a Karma as well as a Gragas in the jungle, so it's going to be very difficult for Sia very early on into this match. We'll have to check in with these two mid laners and see how that one goes later on in the game, but there's a side of tankiness against a side of pure damage. It's going to be very interesting to see how these two clash.
And again, prepare yourself for a very calm and collected early game because we're still having a lot of level 6 ultimate priority and strength.
Definitely will be, so we'll have to see how these two teams pan out. Vici, they dropped that first match. Let's see if they can get back into it as we head into game number 2 between Vici and Team WE. We're back onto Summoner's Rift for the second match of this best of 5 series between Team WE and Vici. Currently, Team WE lead 1-0 after a comeback in game number 1. They're looking to try and get a second win here today with a very different team comp that has a ton of damage to its name, Froskerin.
Yeah, but again, the threat is that if they ever fall behind, they're going to be in a world of hurt because they lack a ton of wave clear. Again, normally we see Sivir in tandem with the Cassidy to help compensate for that, but with Jhin and Cassidy both, Vici, they've already proven that they can run a very clean and concise 20-minute game. See if they can improve that to 35 minutes, and more importantly, Team WE cannot afford to fall that far behind because they don't have a lot of stalling options if they do.
Yep, that was just Rek'Sai and dancing around the rift.
Break
Still
dance.
going at it. Whereas Danny and Lung, they are running around in circles.
You can see it on Condi's face right now. Like, that's the perfect example of Team WE. Again, go back, read these players' interviews. Their characters across the board, especially Zero and that support. Oh, that guy. He's just so sarcastic and so flat. I love it.
Well, if he does pick up an MVP performance in their final match, if they do win, they will get another classic Zero interview coming up for that game. But for now, we are heading into that second match. It's going to be the AD carry support starting on a camp at level 1, no lane swap. This is 6.15. We have finally seen a lane swap in this meta for Froskerin. It lasted all of 20 seconds.
You know, we suspected that, because you're playing around the 5-minute tower fortification, that when you have someone like Braum and Ashe or Sivir, you know, someone who has big game-changing gank ults, that you would standard lane and then you would time your first back. Though, as I say that, hold on.
They're trying to fight in the bottom lane. Mystic taking a lot of damage. He missed the deadly flourish, and Caveman said that, okay, that's time for me to go. Walks up to him point blank and chucks a winner's bite in his face. He's still going for it. He has to be very careful. Forces the heal coming up from Shanshempi to keep him alive, but they do trade a lot of damage back in return. Exhaust is down for Zero. Mystic still taking a lot of damage. Good flash from Shanshempi. Gets away from the pulverize that comes out from Zero, but Caveman has to be careful. Zero's going in. Deadly flourish picks up first blood for Vici, Team WE in the bottom lane, and already off to a great start.
And Team WE managed to do that without having any summoners. But meanwhile,
mid lane, Condi looking to try and gank on towards EasyHoon, who just pops the shield, runs back to safety.
Okay, we can quickly then recap what happened in the bottom lane. Initial trade goes down. Team WE lose massively. They lose 2 summoner spells, their heal as well as their exhaust in the initial part of the trade. Vici tried to push it, but they flash forward into the incoming enemy creep wave. And at this low level, you just got dominated by minions.
And it's very similar to what Mystics tried to do very early for Team WE last game, where the flash from both Caveman and Shanshempi avoided the pulverize from Alistar, which was great, but the winner's bite was just an inch away from getting that last tick of damage and needed to take down Mystic. And unfortunately, Caveman pays the price, gets taken down, and now Jhin has a 13 CS lead over Ashe very early into the game, and an experience advantage as well.
Yeah, and that's what's really punishing is not only the experience advantage, but the item disadvantage. We now come back to lane with a serrated Dirk.
Whew. That's going to be painful.
Yeah.
Speaking of painful, this mid lane, Sia taking a little bit of harass coming out from EasyHoon. Still yet to use their potion. Started with a Dark Seal. Top side of the map, 957. Just gets jumped on by Ashen. Decides to hopscotch his way out of it.
I remember what we were talking about. we had the idea or a theory that come 6.15 that the bottom laners would attempt to time their initial backs with the level 6.
Yes.
And then instead of going back into the bottom lane, actually walk up towards the top side, use, the On the Hunt if it's a Sivir, or the Ashe arrow if you're an Ashe,
Yep.
and then pick up the first blood on the top tower as well as the first blood kill gold on the enemy top laner, which means it's like a 1,000 gold power swing initially. Now that Ashe and Caveman have fallen behind, that's completely out of the cards.
Exactly, that Team WE. They're just going to want to try and pressure down this mid lane as much as possible. If they do leave, that's going to be their turret getting taken down as well. For now, though, Team W doing a really good job. They've frozen this bottom lane quite well, forcing Ashe and Braum to go and farm the Krugs.
Oh, really? Team WE froze a wave?
Surprise.
I'm shocked.
I am shocked as well. It's not like they do this all the time, Frosco.
It's almost like they've got 2 freezes going, which now means that when you freeze a wave, it opens up space for Dandy that he can punish you. But if your bottom lane's already behind, he's only coming in to even out. That's rude. To even out the lane. There we go.
Yeah, that's reportable. Mid lane Cassidy was almost forced to go back to base. He's now 15 CS behind. So despite the freezes in the bottom lane and in the top lane, there's a big CS discrepancy that's going in Easy Hoon's favor. Sia does have his teleport available if he wants to teleport back into the mid lane, though. And slowly we are seeing Mystic being forced to shove out this wave. So Shen and Caveman will eventually have some breathing room. And there's that teleport. He wants to get back into the lane. Easy Hoon has hit level 6, so a slight CS advantage for him as well. No, it's not slight. 20 CS advantage for Easy Hoon, as well as a small experience advantage over this Kassadin.
Big thing, though, is the fact that Xie is getting closer and closer to that safety level 6. He expended a ton of mana.
Yep. He's trying to be rude as well. And that's why, kids, you don't BM.
You lose all of your mana bar, and then you get counter TP. Now you're just at 25% mana. What you gonna do? Get punched in the face. Here it comes.
Yep, there's Easy Hoon charging him down. Does get the lockdown.
Yeah, right in there. Give him the old LeBlanc treatment. Hit him with the chain. Slap him with the Q.
That's painful.
But this is Dandy's handiwork, which is what we're looking on the screen right now. So again, if Team WE are going to choose to deep freeze all of their waves, which they did for a time period, it opens up space for Dandy, the enemy jungler, to take advantage, to move in, to lay down that very aggressive vision. Again, though, it's kind of a question, what does Dandy do with that vision? Because Vici, they're not like RNG. MLXG is a very aggressive jungler. He wants to look for the 1v1 kills. Dandy's more about, setting up and supporting his staff and his side lanes, and he's really not in a position to do so. So I kind of feel like he's taking the advantage because he can, but it's a bit all for naught.
Pretty much. We even saw him trying to get an event going on over towards Condi. Loses the Raptor Cam Smite. Was not expecting that coming out from Condi. Easy Hoon still being a big powerhouse in this mid lane, though, constantly shoving against Sia, making sure he has difficulty farming. Kassadin has hit level 6, but he is completely out of mana. In fact, he goes for a Hextech Gunblade first. Not Gunblade, sorry, Hextech Revolver. Very early on, so no mana for this Kassadin, just lots of damage to start this game off.
Yeah, and he's going to continue to be abused in this lane, and he's missing out on a ton of CS as well as a ton of experience, as Easy Hoon's actually going to burn 2 waves into this turret, and because Xie has no teleport, there's no response.
And Easy Hoon's going to be able to get some good damage on towards that mid lane outer turret as well. Now, Shen Champion and Caveman, they're the ones that are trying to get a freeze going, trying to make sure they can get as many minions as possible before it slowly pushes back towards Mystic and Zero's side of the map. No sign of Dandy moving down towards this bottom lane yet. Historically, does not like to pay visits down here. Said we'll wait until the rest of the team decide they want to teleport into the lane and assist them.
Well, they have that possibility now. Again, we've talked about how these compositions really have big go buttons designed for them on their level 6. We actually see Long sitting by his tower just waiting for 957 to shove the wave in.
As Easy Hoon still goes toe-to-toe against this Kassadin. Sia's only been in this lane for a while after going back to base, and he's already at a third of his mana. Still 25 CS behind. Good taunt from Long. Gets 957 on the turret, but a big Gnar comes out. Gets a lot of damage back down in return. He was just out of range of the turret aggro.
You want to talk about reportable offense. That turret. I mean, he pretty much licked it and didn't take any damage.
Well, we've already got an MVP turret. We can get one that gets banned as well for Oscar.
That was the bottom tower. Top tower really stepping up for the team this time around.
On the same team as well.
Here we go, though. Dandy manages to steal the blue buff, so Prince of Thieves living up to his name and really taking it to the Son of Baron.
That's going to hurt. That's blue buff taken away by Cassidy. For Cassidy, sorry.
And now it's coming into the dive. He's got no mana. He's going nowhere.
That's a dead Cassidy. He tries to flash over the wall. Even Lung's being sent down into this lane. He's just running around the map. He will be eventually met by the bottom lane as well as a chance of crystal arrow to the face. That's just rude.
And again, another disastrous early game from Team WE. Not as extreme as it was, but in these individual 1v1 lanes, especially the mid lane, EasyHoon is just putting Xie in the bin.
There's a teleport going into the mid lane. It's actually Nada's trying to join this one. They're taking up the turret for now. He's just looking, trying to defend the turret that's being pushed by the rest of Vici. Might be able to do something if he teleported a little bit earlier there, but just saves the mid lane out of turret. Team W are still in the lead thanks to the small CS lead they have on the top side of the map as well as the bottom lane, but a 30 CS advantage for EasyHoon is a little bit scary.
There will be a window of opportunity, though, now that both teleports have been expended in that mid lane, where Long will have his Stand United cooldown back up before 957 has his TP available to him. So we'll see if Vici makes something happen. Historically, that's kind of been their stick.
But a good spot for Team WE regardless. They are even in goal, and it's only 10 minutes in the game. It's exactly where they want to be, and they want to be like this for the next 20 minutes for Oscar.
Again, though, if this composition falls behind, they're going to lose a lot of structures very quickly. And the first structure is even more punishing than it's ever been before. 6.15, it'll give you that first blood tower gold.
Exactly that. Especially when they've been trying to freeze waves on the top and bottom side of the map, means that they're only going to be relying on that mid lane who has been pummeled underneath this turret. But still even, exactly where Team W want to be. As long as they're not behind, they're very comfortable and they know how to mitigate their losses, which they're doing fairly well in this mid lane. CS only going down once, has lost a lot of CS for it. It's not too surprising. He's up against EasyHoon. Really good laner himself. Has been playing very well for Vici since he joined the roster.
I mean, Pawn said it himself, who's played against both EasyHoon and Faker. Again, Pawn. Pawn has said that EasyHoon is the better laner and that he would rather lane against Faker than EasyHoon because he's frustrating to lane against.
You can already see that coming up from Sia. 30 CS down. It's just growing and growing.
Oh, good damage.
Yeah, report that guy. Not doing anything again. Danny this time around making his trip up to the top side of the map. Ward was placed down, so 957 can get the heck out of dodge and get back to safety.
He does know. So they're trying to set up some sort of 2v2 scenario.
Rek'Sai's moving up to the top lane as well. Shenchopi and Caveman looking to try and make a pick towards the mid lane.
Here comes the arrow. They're going to be spotted out by a pink ward. Xie, run!
Poor pink ward. He was just a casualty.
Oh, but here comes Dandy.
Just a casualty in the crossfire.
He's surrounded. Pulls Condi, forces him to hold Cassidon's hand, but again, no wave clear.
Sia tries to rift walk away from all that damage. A little bit too late. Wastes his mana and also takes a ton of damage back from his health.
This tower is getting scarily low here.
Yep, so first turret structure gold could go in Vici's favor, and Vici have actually taken the gold lead slightly thanks to this oppressive mid lane that they have going on.
And this is atrocious. If Karma just organically takes the first tower gold and it happens to be the mid lane, that's disaster. Not only is that a big free gold swing, but that's such an important point of the map to pivot all of your control around, which would just open up so much opportunity and so many plays for Vici.
And it's surprising that Team W have opted into this because they had the last pick. They picked Cassidon into the Karma knowing it was a mid lane matchup. And it just hasn't worked out. Even more surprised to see that Sia is going for a late Rod of Ages. Went for the Revolver first. Doesn't seem very optimal in this mid lane as he's just going to lose this turret now. Rek'Sai tries to teleport down here, but there's 3 members of Vici strong. First structure gold goes over to Vici.
Too little too late, and I'm actually surprised that they didn't immediately just turn it on Condi and get the free arrow.
On top side of the map, there is a lot of damage being dealt on towards the top lane outer turret. You can already see, even though missing 0, very far ahead very early on. Strange MP has been farming up at Storm. He's only 10 CS behind that Jhin. And he's been rotating around the map.
Got his blue suede shoes already laced up and ready to go, though.
But Sia now does a nice bit of damage from this Cassidon. When he does have mana available, EasyHoon has to be careful.
Exactly, and that's the caution that you see from EasyHoon, not willing to chase or to follow up on that damage.
But again, Cassidy does suit their style. Scales well into the late game.
Team fights well.
Mystic as well picking up a Jhin, a champion that scales incredibly well late.
This is something I want to underline where Vici have just organically won through superior 1v1 play the mid lane. On the other side, top, WE have won the top side, pretty much 1v1.
30 CS or 25 CS advantage going on over to 957, and Mystic and Zero also putting away Clinic in the bottom lane. They got that first blood gold, and they've been able to stay about 10 CS up ahead of Shen since then. Credit to the Ashe, has been able to farm up a Storm, but still waiting for the components of her Zeal item, where Mystic, he's picked up that Yoma's Ghostblade, he's ready to go.
And speaking of itemization, checking in with 957, although hold on, Xie might be in some trouble, forced to flash.
He's going to have to flash away from Easy Hoon and Rift Walk out of that one. A little bit too aggressive from the Cassidy.
957 choosing to itemize into the Black Cleaver as opposed to the Frozen Mallet, which is typically what we see, especially if a Gnar is going to engage in split pushing.
Especially against the Shen.
Yeah, because it gives them so much control in an elongated lane to really chase Shen down and do that damage not through the Black Cleaver, but through the Hyper Procs.
Still though, we'll be able to help Mystic out. He's going for a flat armor penetration build, so that Black Cleaver stacks onto the front lane will help him shred through them. Condi's also does mostly physical damage, especially early on in the match. So let's see how 957 utilizes that item effectively, or if he can use it effectively. He's still split pushing on the top side of the map, giving Long a hard time on this Shen.
And it's because Team WE have so much information that majority of, in fact all of Vici's players are on the bottom side of the map. So it gives 957 the right to be this far forward, although he's about to get interrupted.
Yep, Easy Hoon trying to move up to the top side of the map. 957, get the heck out of there, buddy. You're just a small little Gnar. You're too young to die. And he will be able to hop away from the queue. Does take a little bit of damage for his troubles.
But right now, 957 is compensating for his team having lackluster wave clear. So Team WE, they need to still out the game. They're the 35-minute team. Well, they can't do it by just freely clearing waves, but they can cause 957 to maneuver and herd people around the map.
They are at 15 or 16 minutes here, so close to halfway, Froskin. We're getting there. And they're still dead even.
Can they hang on?
They're still dead even. It's 26,500 gold to both these teams. And Sia's actually starting to look good in this mid lane. He's catching up in CS, now 25 CS behind only with a wave pushing for himself. Does have that Rod of Ages now too, so that will stack up slowly and get him a little bit more health, mana, as well as ability power. And that Hextech Revolver will help him add a little bit of burst damage once he does go for team fights.
Vici need to make a play. Unfortunately, they're behind in itemization in their side lanes.
Well, they did burn the ultimate coming out from Alistar, so if they wanted to make a play bottom lane, it was available. But it's 957, it looks like it's going to be jumped on here. Dandy trying to get on top of him. Condi uses the Rek'Sai ultimate to get closer to this top lane. This top lane turret has taken little to no damage. 957 is very comfortable up here.
This is what Vici need to be doing. They just need to execute on it better. You have Easy Hoon. He's clearly won the mid lane. You have complete control over that pivot point. You need to start applying pressure. Start snowballing, dropping these structures.
They're going pings. They're going for a flank onto Caveman and Easy Hoon and Shen P in the bottom lane, I should say. Here comes Gnar. 957 slows down Shen P. There goes tons of damage coming out from the crit of the Jhin ultimate. But Lung's down here. They've locked down 957. He doesn't go into Mega in time. Now it's Mystic are looking to try and turn this one around. Sia will get down to this bottom lane, but Shen P lives to tell the tale. And Vici reacts to the collapse nicely and are able to stop Team WE from getting ahead.
Oh, good flash out of Mystic.
Good double flash coming up from both Mystic and Sia, or Riftwalk, I should say, from Sia to get to safety. Does mean that Vici get the pick and also take down the bottom lane outer turret.
Again, this is exactly what Vici need to be doing right now. They have the clear lead, they're in control of the game, but they can't just sit back and let Team WE freeze the waves, force the pressure.
And here's that lack of wave clear taking effect for Oscar, and it takes them so long to get the minions off of the turret. And it just gives Vici all the time in the world to try and poke out and get some good damage down. Dragon has not been looked at yet by either of these teams, but it could be now because it is a Mountain Dragon and Vici want to try and take it.
Exactly, because Vici need to be mobilizing into full siege mode. Likewise, you're going to take a free objective when it's given to you, and it will give them a lot more Baron secure.
Certainly will, and especially with the lack of wave clear that Team WE have, having the Mountain Dragon means you can poke in and poke out of the turrets, take it down as slowly as you like to, and get even more chip damage off of it. Easy Hoon still doing what he's done this entire game, which is make sure that Sia has the worst time possible on Summoner's Rift.
It's got Condi above him, though.
But there's no mana for this Cassin. He's going
There's
to be
no health
careful.
for him.
But here comes Zero, looking to try and get the flash. Does burn the flash away from EasyHoon with no summoner spells being burnt by Team WE. But still, even though Team WE made that proactive play and Vici countered it very nicely, pick up an extra turret, pick up a kill for themselves, they're still only 1,000 gold behind. We see this from Team WE all the time. 1,000 gold, yeah, sure, no problem.
This is why they frustrate me.
Doesn't your desktop background have a Team WE logo, Frostco?
Just because I like pain. I don't understand how a team, I do understand why. They're just so good past 30 minutes. But before 30 minutes, it's not that they don't know what to do, because they do. They're very good at minimizing damage, at stopping the bleeding around the map. But they just don't care enough. They're that 50-50 team. They have the confidence that if it comes down to that single team fight, that they're going to roll correctly every time.
They certainly feel like it.
We call them the gamblers of the LPL.
Well, Team WE and Vici are both congregating up on the top side of the map. It's only really Cassin is down on the bottom side, up against Long. So a little bit of an easier task, you could say, for Sia to split push against the Shen, but still
Especially because the Shen hasn't itemized against all of that magic damage, so Xie really putting the hurt on Long.
Certainly is. Has picked up his Sorcerer boots as well, so we're moving around a little bit faster.
And now we can talk about the possibility of a 1-3-1. It was always possible with this composition, especially because Gnar itemized for split pushing, as well as having that Cassid in there.
2-for-1 combo for Dandy Day. Is able to take down the turret, the tunnel, as well as the trap that Jim placed down. Team WE are still looking to defend this top lane turret. They've got no caster in here, and they've definitely got no wave clear from the 3 members that they split up on the top of the side of the map.
But there's a really deep ward behind Vici on the top side of the map, and the only reason I point that out is of course because Team WE are running a double teleport composition.
Still a little bit of time before 957s is back up. Then he might just look for a Mega to go down, but they're already pulling the trigger in the bottom lane. He has to get the heck out of there, as there's EasyHoon. The changes to teleport, catching Sia by surprise. He does not expect him to show up right behind him and gets taken down. A very quick and swift pick coming out from Vici.
And it's brilliant to gank the teleport knowing that 957's TP isn't just up and available yet. So make sure that you're ganking the guy that's going to get 0 support.
Exactly that. Now Vici looking to do a similar thing to what they did in game number 1, which is slowly chip away at Team WE, take down the defenses piece by piece.
Difference though is that last game, Team WE managed to hit back at 22 minutes. We're now reaching that point, and there's no answer.
Well, there's a flash forward from Caveman here. He's on top of Mystic. Stand United coming in as well. Mystic is dead. Here's that double teleport play coming out from Team WE, but they're going into an unfavorable matchup. Cassidy's in, going for Shen P. He's obliterated in the fight. They're only going to be able to take down the Ashe before they get taken down next. 957 has to run away. He has no summoner spells. He tries to hop away, but that's 4 kills going over towards Vici, and EasyHoon is still split pushing in the bottom lane.
And that's what Vici were looking for in game 1. This time around, they execute cleanly on the 5v5. They just obliterate Team WE as they high-five, running into certain death, and pick up not 1, but 2 turrets.
Bottom lane in the turret taken down. Top lane out of turret's going to be taken down next. Vici, 6,000 to 7,000 gold in the lead at the moment. Looking very strong, fighting back in game number 2.
But is it enough?
Well, I'll tell you what, Frostco, in 12 minutes we will find out.
Also, the difference between these two teams. Team WE win a team fight there. They immediately rotate into the 22-minute Baron. Vici are like, take the towers, back, reset the map.
And then ping Baron, but never do it. Dragon will be respawning though in a minute 30. It was an Infernal Dragon, I believe, after the first Mountain Dragon was taken down. Shen has his Infinity Edge as well as the Hurricane, so despite this team comp being fairly low in damage, EasyHoon had such a great stun. His Karma is going to hurt like a truck.
Because she's so far ahead of the clock right now. So yes, Karma's damage will fall off into the late game, but for Team WE, that's looking closer to 45 minutes rather than 35 minutes.
Well, you never know. You have to see what happens here. But 957, he's in a little bit of a sticky situation. Will turn Mega in time to double bounce over the top of the heads. Gets a big nod down onto Caveman and Dandy, but it's just a wet noodle fight to start things off. Both teams bouncing back and forth. They found EasyHoon and Shen P as well. As the red buff does spawn, Condi wants to try and secure this one for his team.
Naturally, the only strong point for Team WE on the map right now is 957, although should be noted, Chie will do massive damage if he gets to that backline. Last time around was CC locked quite effectively.
Yep, but he still chunked out Shenshempi to allow, I believe, Condi to pick up the dessert for himself.
Table scraps at that point.
And again, the later this game goes means that Vici, they really only have a couple of threats, being the Ashe and the Karma. So if they can get Sia on top of them with Condi and 957, they will be killed pretty quickly.
Which really just translates into it's the onus on Vici to win the game right now.
So being a
Here
little bit
comes Zero.
aggressive here.
Oh,
Zero was
good
looking
save.
for it. Great Q coming out from Easy Hoon, stops him from advancing any further forward, and even gets poked out time and time again. As Dandy looks to try and take away blue buff for himself.
He's standing on a pink ward.
Doesn't care. He wants them to watch him take the blue buff.
Just making direct eye contact with him. Leans back from his keyboard, looks at Condi.
Yeah, looks to his left. He's like, "Hi guys, this is mine. Thank you." But even though Vici are firmly in control of this game for now, it's still been a very quiet match between Vici and Team WE, which we really expected because these two teams, very controlled, very cerebral teams. They like to take things late.
Certainly a very different flavor and taste of the LPL.
And it wasn't an Infernal Dragon, it was an Ocean Dragon this one second.
It's like an Infernal Dragon, just not nearly as useful or as wanted.
And it cools you down. Doesn't turn on the heat.
I can see how you would confuse those two.
Yep. I don't know anymore. Someone get Atlas in him.
Oh, arrow.
Lands on the Mystic. There's a flash forward from Shenshempi. Forces a flash out of Mystic, but it's just summon a spell for summon a spell.
Both 80 carries, though, no longer have their flashes. That means pretty bad news in the incoming 5v5 should one of them make a miss position.
Especially since a lot of gold is on Shenshempi for Vici. If they can take him down, it could be a disastrous team fight. Vici wanted to clear a ward. Baron says no. Because Easy Hoon decides he wants to tag that. Now it's going to be Condi that wants to tag the Baron.
They thought that that was enough to pull the trigger, forcing Mystic into back and possibly looking towards the Baron. They do clear out all the vision, although the blue trinket for Chie is coming up.
Could have been a good time because 957 is in Mega and will have the cooldown on his passive for now. Let's see if he's able to push this one out and manage that Rage Bar effectively if he needs to teleport across the map. But Team WE, I think I've seen this before for Oscar. They're playing it slow, they're playing it steady, mitigating their losses. They're behind.
I don't think Team WE play League of Legends. They play WoW. Because they just grind, you know, farming their low-level camps.
It's an RPG.
Exactly. And they're like, okay, it's time to raid, guys. We got to go into the...
So who's the raid boss right now?
It's
Is it Baron?
Vici.
It's Vici?
Yes.
The entire Vici's the raid boss. They have to have a leader.
But the setup time, it's about the spirit of it. You know, I got to find my gear, get my drops, grind my experience, and then when it's time to raid, we group up, we take down the raid boss.
I still feel like Team WE's raid boss is the other dragon, not Vici. Vici are just the grunts in the way. You know, very powerful when you don't have your gear, but once you get it, yeah, just get out of the way.
I can see why Rusty, this is his favorite team. I get it now. Here comes a pick.
They're looking to try and get a collapse on towards the
You're going
Alistar
nowhere.
here. Flashed away from the slow. He's been jumped on by Caveman. Does have his ultimate to keep himself alive if he needs it. Teleports are coming in for Team WE. Big Pulverize comes out from Zero. He's dead though when he starts off this fight. Now Condi has to try and tunnel away. Sia can only touch the front line for now. Same with the Jhin. 957 is going Mega. Looking for a good chance to jump into the team, but can't quite get it as he does transform. They're still fighting this one though.
Oh,
Look.
good flash.
Good flash into the back lines. Mystic is locked down, but untouched for now. Long's actually getting taken down. Team WE, they've got to go for the back line though, because Easy Hoon and Shenshempi, I should say, are dealing a lot of damage. Condi has to retreat. Mystic's got to run away as well. There is a flash available for Dandy, but he doesn't pull the trigger. All in all, it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Vici.
But the front line is dead from Team WE, which means that Chie and Mystic can do nothing but watch their teammates and their structures falls. Vici, again, still in full control of this map and are getting closer and closer to that 10k gold difference.
They certainly are. It's 52,000 gold to 44,000 gold. 8,000 gold in the lead at the moment. Vici, as they set their eyes towards the Baron, Just seems like they faked it and tagged it with the last bit of vision that came out from that ward, trying to bait Team WE in towards this pit. Condi misses the Prey Seeker, but will not be punished here as he puts a ward down immediately to stop this from being taken down. Vici instead settle to take a red buff for themselves.
Yep, not pushing their luck, being very respectful. Again, this is something indicative of Vici. Again, if this is Team WE, they're immediately on the Baron. They're burning that as quickly as possible. But Vici, that paper cut style,
that's
just
one
pick after pick.
That's one Trinket Ward being used already. They don't have vision over towards this Baron, but Condi trying to spot people up, does have the Tremor Sense available. So if Danny keeps moving around here, he will know that he's not quite in the pit. There's the second Trinket Ward being used, so now it's very difficult for Team WE to try and check this pit.
It's do or die now for WE.
They're gone. That's all they wanted. They only wanted those Trinket Wards, and now they've set their eyes on the Baron. Half health already. Condi is Son of Baron, though. He's going in, gets hit by the Enchanted Crystal.
no.
Good. Comes in.
got
He
it!
did it! Son of Baron steals the Baron for Team WE. He comes out strong here despite all the efforts from Vici to keep him out of the pit. A lifeline has been thrown for Team WE to get back into this game.
He face tanks an arrow and still manages to come out on top. That's against Dandy. That's not any jungler. That is a world-class jungler. The Prince of Thieves himself. And Condi gets the Baron.
Oh my goodness. Knocked by the arrow, knocked out of his tunnel coming from the knockback of Gragas' ultimate. Doesn't care, just splashes in there. Get me in there, kids. I'm ready for this Baron.
So Condi picked up the nickname Son of Baron because in his first debut split as Team WE's jungler, he was picking up these high-pressure situation smites, particularly on his Lee Sin and particularly, of course, on that Baron pit. This split, he's actually been very hit and miss. We've actually poked a lot of fun at Condi. It's not so much been the Baron, but it's been the Elder Dragon that he's been able to secure. So to turn it on in a high-pressure situation in the playoffs, the quarterfinals for Team WE, this is what it's about.
And what a lifeline as well. I mean, they're not close back in terms of the goal lead. They're still 7,000 gold behind, but this gives them so much opportunity to take down these structures they need to get the gold they want to try and get to 35 minutes in the game. Once the Baron expires, we're at 34 minutes for Oscar, and so it's perfect timing for Team WE. But Vici, they want to fight.
Just turn on him.
Dandy is trying to kite around the back lines. The barrel doesn't slow anyone down. Sia is actually trying to hunt him down as this casted, and Dandy fairly scared on this Gragas. He might be a big tank. Can't take on all members of Team WE just yet.
Is a big nuisance for them, though, and trying to stall out as long as he can on this Baron so Team WE aren't able to shore up this gold deficit.
They're continuing their push in this mid lane. They want that mid lane in a turret, but good wave control from Team WE. Vici.
That's the brilliance coming out of Dandy. He distracts them, he pulls them back into the mid lane. They're not able to siege into that inner mid tower. Meanwhile, Long is getting two side waves shoving in. So again, more and more of that Baron timer is being wasted just resetting the map. It's just a breather and nothing more.
Well, there's Dandy in the back half of this Mountain Dragon pit. Takes a little bit of damage. He wants to try and take the dragon down. Team WE, yes, they have Baron, but there's still 6,000 gold behind here for Oscar, and a team fight has to be clinical for them if they want to take Vici down.
It's past 30 minutes. That's exactly where they shine.
Well, it's going to be Jin that picks up the Mountain Dragon. A big pulverize will come out from Zero to try and deter them from heading back. There's the Kernicle just slowing down Vici, not looking for an engage here. And Long will just tank everything up. Facing him out means that he takes absolutely no damage. And Team WE retreats straight back to the mid lane.
Vici do have the superior position on this, though. Are they going to flank?
They're going to be able to try and push down this mid lane.
They're just going to lose it for free.
In a turret, 957, nowhere close to getting back his Mega Gnar.
It's a miscommunication. You have to think that that should have been the go button for Team WE. Yes, there's still a massive gold deficit, so they need to be careful about how they pick up these fights. But Mystic is using the Jhin ultimate, and the Mega Gnar comes through. Mystic is saying go, and Team WE are saying no.
Which is not great for them. That Baron buff is going to expire in about 30 seconds here. Team WE...
They got a Mountain Drake off of it.
Yep. And a turret, that's about it. You know, they were about this far behind previously, so Vici's still farming up a Storm. It is 35 minutes into the game, but like you mentioned earlier, they might have to just wait for 45 now.
And continuously giving away those early games. You have to suspect that either Vici or Team WE, whoever moves on past this series, if you're looking across from EDG, you can't afford to have this many glaring weaknesses. Vici, their early game is strong, but their late game 5v5 is so lackluster. On the other side, Team WE will give away everything on the map to a fault as long as they get their creep gold.
Well, good news for for Team W is the fact that they've got lots of armor penetration on Mystic, as well as 957 trying to disrupt the front line with that Black Cleaver, so they can try and take down this heavy tank team. And we'll have to see if Vici's lack of damage does show up later on in this match, because Team WE definitely not lacking that. And they now have CS split pushing on the top side of the map.
And it's Xie in particular that is actually very massive.
He certainly is. He's got caught up in CS quite nicely. I mean, we're approaching late game, so it doesn't matter too much.
It's his priority of penetration in particular that's really helped him get through his lackluster early game and given him a good solid spike into the mid turning point of late game. So the fact that he itemized not only a very early Void Staff, but in tandem with that Abyssal Scepter, which has kept him so in line with this game.
Still has his revolver, which tilts me a little bit.
So he can shoot things.
It doesn't. What? It amplifies your auto attack. How does it shoot things?
It's a revolver.
But it doesn't shoot. It makes you punch stronger. That's like taking a gun to a knife fight and just clubbing them with the back of it.
I think that's just styling on someone. If you ever have to resort to a pistol whip.
Oh, but for now, these two teams are back to doing what they do best, Frosco, which is farming and waiting and playing a very patient game.
Onus is on Vici. They're not farming. They're trying to find a play, and Team W are actually just running away from them.
They're like, we don't want to do anything right now. Can we come back when we have 6 items, please?
But how frustrating must that be? Vici, you know, trying to find the perfect team fight, trying to set things up, and it's just like weaseling out of it.
Well, Vici, they're now 9,000 gold ahead, so they're slowly running the map around Team WE.
This is my favorite game to play whenever Vici are in a game. 9,000 gold difference. Is it enough? Can they team fight with the 9k advantage?
Well, you never know. We'll have to see how this next team fight takes place between the two teams. Lots of gold is on Shen P. He's almost at 6 items.
That window of opportunity is closing for Vici. They need to be proactive around the map because the closer we get to that 80k mark, the less that deficit's going to mean.
Even 70,000 gold with the last items being picked up are usually defensive-based items.
Especially because everyone pretty much has their primary cores running around. You're really just looking at Kassadin for a big power spike now.
Shen P picks up a
flat power spike versus the penetration.
Shen P picks up a Zeal as his final item, so going for the 80% crit chance. But still, Team WE sitting back, they're relaxing, they're trying to take as much time as they can to regroup and recuperate. But Elder Dragon going to be coming up in a minute 50. Baron's up in 20 seconds. Now it's time where they have to be proactive.
36 minutes.
Mega Knight actually being popped there by 957. We've seen a lot of teams, when they're in a split push situation, take advantage of that passive cooldown because it is a big factor to when Na can and can't fight. And it's perfect timing because Baron has actually come back up and is online. They pull the trigger. Shen P starts this one, but they tag it and run away.
It was overzealous. Tap the brakes.
Slow down.
They did manage to pop 1 blue trinket, although the next one is available on Xie.
So 957 has picked up quite a few items here. He now has his Guardian Angel, 1 item away from 6, same as Lung. So the top laners are dead even. Junglers, fairly even as well.
957 was not the suffering member here for Team WE. He was really looking at Xie in the mid lane as well as Mystic. Although Mystic's certainly on clock, Xie itemized well to put himself back into the game. Again, you're just kind of looking for that flat AP, kind of last push for his damage output.
Still 9,000 gold lead for Vici, 37 minutes in. Elder Dragon's up in 30 seconds. And they're still looking to contest the Baron pit. Once again, they're just making sure all the wards from Team WE are gone before they pull the trigger, and they have pulled the trigger. Condi's done it once. Let's see if he can do it again.
This is the 50-50 that Team WE like to play.
They certainly do. Condi's nowhere close to this pit, though. This Baron is going to fall. Vici pick it up. Son of Baron nowhere close. Enchanted Crystal lands on towards 0. They use the Braum ultimate as well, so big cooldowns being used by Vici here during this fight. And 957's going mega, but Mystic delivered into the team by Dandy. Means the big carry from the side of TWE is down. Sia can't find an opportunity to jump into the back lines. It will be 957 that falls. His Guardian Angel will bring him back up, but he's on top of so many members of Vici. And it seems like those are the 2 picks they really need it. Now they're going to push for the base.
And Team WE are just running for the hills. And the question is, was 9k enough for Vici? And the answer, they don't even need to test it because Team WE give away everything uncontested.
They certainly do. One misplay for Team WE after a Baron steal comes out from Condi means the base has been broken by Vici. Condi has a thing to say about this. He has been pulling minions away from the base.
Which means that the push stops here, but that's still an inhib down for Team WE, not the position that they want to be as we take a look at this replay. So the Baron has already gone down, burned very quickly. Zero is immediately forced to use his ultimate to cleanse the Ash Arrow, but the big issue is right there. Dandy hand-delivering Mystic and instantly deleting him. It's then followed up by the fact that Xie has already pieced out of this fight, and 957 finds a lackluster and too little too late Gnar ultimate.
Which means Elder Dragon is taken down as well. Vici will pick that objective up, and now they've got two major objectives, 10,000 gold, and a base left between them and victory in this second match. But we're still going to be here for a while, Froscarin.
We knew we were going to be here for a while.
Yep. I mean, 10,000 gold, a Baron and Elder Dragon, but Gromp is the objective for Dandy. He gets it. He knows what he wants. That's the main thing.
I feel like Vici is a scenario where if you can practice your golf commentating, excuse me. Dandy, setting up nice on the Gromp here. It's a straight green. He's looking for the... I don't know. I don't watch golf.
Wants 6 items on everyone from the side of Vici except for Karma, who is looking for the Leandry. I can't do words now. Leandry's Torment is going to be the final item that gets picked up by Karma, whereas Team WE fairly far behind, can't quite get their 6-item power spikes, if you could say that yet. So, if Vici keeps stalling this one out...
This is... I'm not even going to take itemization here, just because we're so deep into the gold, even though it's 12-3. You take a look above that or to the left or right, 79-64. We're still in pretty decent spot. It's execution. And frankly, Team WE have failed to execute on their 5v5, which is something that we normally praise them for.
Exactly that.
But Mystic getting caught out, 957 not having that Gnar ultimate available in time.
And here comes Vici. They collapse onto Team WE's base. They take down the bottom lane inhibitor as well as the inhibitor turret. They still have a little bit of this dragon buff available, so we'll be burning through Vici if they get anywhere close to their team. Still need a wave on the top side of the map to push for that final inhibitor and inhibitor turret.
Just slowly suffocating Team WE. We talked about how the window was shutting for Vici to be proactive, to take the onus, to end the game. What is it, Fish?
I just don't understand. This is the LPL, Froscarin. What's going on?
Why aren't they fighting?
Why are they not fighting? Well, here comes a team fight finally. Kodakor goes in. Zero only locks down Dandy. Caveman gets him to stand behind Braum. Condi into the back lines. 957 is big, but a big Pulverize comes out to try and stop them from advancing forward. Shen P, he's just all walking back and forth. As soon as someone jumps on top of him, Caveman's there to protect him. He ignores the Cassidy. He's just a big Ash. The rest of Vici are incredibly strong. Shen P will pick up the triple kill, although it will be easier to take someone away, but still, it is the ace that come out for Vici. A 17-3 finish takes them 42 minutes, but it's still a win, and they will tie up the series 1-1 against Team WE.
And close to a 20k gold deficit, and the answer is yes. That is enough for Vici to close a 5v5.
Finally, and they do tie the series back up. They were the last place seed heading into playoffs from their group, and they're trying to make the gauntlet run to head into the finals, and that was their first step in this match against Team WE.
But now the question becomes, do they stick with Xuan P, or do they move back to Endless? Frankly, I think Xuan P stepped up massive there. You know, making the super aggressive plays, flashing forward, forcing Mystic to reposition himself. Especially
when his Twitch gets banned away, but he picks up the Ash and is able to put on a stellar performance on the champion. Endless, yes, he did well. Had some great arrows when he played the match for Vici, but teamfight-wise, he just fell apart, whereas Shen P, he was so aggressive on the champion.
And it's nice because it really highlights the difference between these players' mentalities and core. I'd like to see them stick with Xuan, but again, we'll keep everyone updated on the substitutions across the board.
We'll have to see, because Vici, they do play around with their bottom lane 80 carry from game to game. But still, very similar start from Vici. You know, doing the exact same thing they did in game number 1, just that Team WE didn't find that 5-on-5 they really needed to get back into the game.
And again, it's kind of this lackluster execution, which we don't normally see. That said, I also don't think Mystic looks good on the Jhin at all.
Yep.
We talked about how Mystic, when he's put on that Ezreal, he can really stand toe-to-toe with some of the best AD carries in the league. But taking away the Jin from Xuan P and putting him in on a very discomfort matchup, I think it was really amplified here.
Because Mystic's not a janitorial AD carry. He is an aggressive player. He wants arcane shifting. He wants to be aggressive in the front lines. You see someone like Martin will open up with a curtsy call and, you know, stay far back, make sure ultimates are used first. P's like, okay, I'm walking in. How do I fight this one? Oh, no, I'm dead.
Jin's just so fragile. Mystic's two big AD carries that he plays is Ezreal and Sivir, who have so much more mobility and protection to them. So I think it's not in his wheelhouse, it's not in his comfort zone. Stop denying things from Xuan P and just play what you're good at.
And also Vici playing the Team WE game, you know, kinding back very effectively with their team composition, making sure they can keep P alive during that team fight, or all the team fights we saw there. And they snowballed their victory. It took them a while, but they still picked up the win.
Yeah, and it's clean, calculated, methodical. It's everything that you want from Vici Gaming. You know, they did happen to lose that Baron in a 50-50 smite steal, but other than that, complete control and a night and day performance from their early gameplay at around 22 minutes.
It certainly is, and this Best of 5 series has been exactly what we expected out of Vici and Team WE. So guys, stick around because we've got more exciting action between these two teams in just a bit.